Zoom это, конечно, пиздец. Бесплатно.
Да. А что он тебе не позволяет другую ссылку делать?
Да, в течение 10 минут. Ну, он специально, чтобы тариф платно купили.
Фига.
Пиздец, вообще такая подстава. Прикинь, я вот разговариваю с кем-то, я не могу ссылку сделать. Это трэш вообще. Они, по сути, заставляют меня идти в Google Meet в их конкурента.
Слушай, я когда делаю из Гугла, ну, там, с календарем интегрируешь, типа, и там прям выбираешь Zoom, то по этой ссылке всегда реконнектит. Сколько бы ни было участников, всегда реконнектит по этой ссылке.
Ты имеешь в виду перезайти можно или что?
Да.
Может, и можно так. Снова по этой же ссылке надо попробовать будет.
Мгм.
Так, допрет он?
Пока,
Ну,
пока прет, давай это обсудим. Смотри, чел шарит, получается, с поставщиками общается, собирает вот AP, платежи делает, то есть реально ручками сейчас будет показывать, вот как он делает ручками, у них все на ручнике. Это первое. Второе, обсуждает лимиты с поставщиками, вот то, что он там показывал, да, а, лимиты, термсы, вот эту всю херню. Какие вопросы важно с ним обсудить? То есть он
да все, которые у тебя записаны в этом в файле, флеш.
сейчас постоянно проебал какие-то вопросы, потом вспоминаю, думаю, блин, так,
Так
файл
это по
флеш.
ним внутри.
Ну давай, да, по ним.
Ali, can you hear us?
Yes, I can.
Okay, you can.
Shall we proceed? Shall we
Sure.
proceed?
Let's proceed. Yeah, now you can share. Sorry. Mhm.
This is the simple Google Sheet format for accounts payable management. Look at this credit limit 60,000, net term 30 days. So here we just date, net terms, due date, purchase order number, description means invoice number, how much charges does the invoice contain, and the payment allocation. Generally, if you apply the payment, this remaining balance will be a 0. So our dashboard shows 0. If I remove this payment, look at this. This balance opens.
Mhm. Makes sense. So it's super simple and still works fine, right?
And if we have any problem with the invoice, we generally mention here, do not pay to the supplier. Look at this red highlighted. Now in dashboard, it will be shown that do not pay. Although it will be due on 26th May.
I see. So, and you have such dashboard for each supplier, right? For each
Yeah,
partner.
all suppliers are integrated into a single dashboard.
But here it says that it's is that each line could be like different suppliers, or that's only one supplier?
This ledger of only single supplier, another supplier will have second, another supplier will have another Google Sheet file.
I see. And I see. And the other tabs in this
We also before making any entry into this in this Google Sheet, we generally verify our invoices with the purchase order in ours, we have a software named Zoho inventory. We maintain our inventory there.
I
So
see.
through Zoho inventory, we verify invoices, and then we make entry there here.
I see. And how many
think-
suppliers do you have? I mean, just approximately how many such sheets you manage on a monthly basis? I mean, one
So
sheet is one supplier, right? So how many suppliers you manage? So
there are more. There are more than 100 suppliers on credit limit.
I see. And those 500 transactions are split by those 100 suppliers, right? So it's like five transactions in average per supplier. Can we say like that?
Exactly. And there is also there is also a single sheet which contains the name of supplier, the name of supplier, then the terms, then the credit limit, and on which company he is allotted as the limit, because we have multiple companies, so the company also measures. And then there is a link. Next step contains the link of the credit ledger. If someone is unable to recall how many suppliers we have, so generally we provide them that centralized sheet through which he or she can easily trace the Google Sheet ledger, because because there you can find each and every link
I see.
beside the name of the supplier.
I see. Well, let's maybe quickly discuss this AP, well, current process in terms of two things. First is accuracy, and second is workload. Regarding accuracy, does it work smoothly and quite accurately, or sometimes something is missing? Why I'm asking this, because it seems that data entry is managed manually, right? So you have to
Exactly.
download, you have to copy, and then you have to paste, and there might be some, I don't know, maybe mistakes, maybe not. So does that even happen, or it's quite accurate? What would you say?
If so, previously we used to these ledgers were updated by 2 to 3 members, so there were a lot of mistakes because person one sees the invoice differently, then inquires from the supplier what is the issue here, you have a charge this, so on. So he updated invoice differently, and the second person was emailing the suppliers and asking them to provide the statement of accounts, and he was reconciling differently. So previously these issues were happening. When you have a 2 to 3%, then these issues are possible, because if one person is reconciling statement of accounts, you might have heard of it. Statement of accounts contains all the open invoices of the suppliers. Invoices sometimes contains different value, and a statement of accounts contain different value. So in that case, we had problems. We were paying sometimes less to the suppliers, and we were sometimes paying higher to the suppliers. But right now we have decided that only one person will see these all things, all ledgers, and also reconcile the statement of accounts at the end of the month,
Well,
so that what suppliers.
this situation when statement of account, if I understand, if I hear it correctly, the number there is different rather than in invoice. Is it, I mean, just general issue how it works, and why it's different?
Let me just demonstrate a simple example for you.
Yeah,
and
I
then
mean,
we proceed for it.
just to get general understanding.
In what, in previous month, one of the supplier, the invoice value was 7,000. He charged sales tax
Mhm.
of 300. So a person who was recording invoice, we have a legitimate reseller permit of Washington. We have therefore a tax exemption in many states. So one of my colleagues entered this invoice along with the tax value. So when the invoice became due, the payment was mistakenly paid. This, although we had to claim the tax credit, tax exemption.
Mhm. Makes sense. Makes sense. I see. And you resolved this issue by just assigning one person so that one person is, doing it more accurately and
Ah,
actually in charge of.
exactly,
I see.
in
And
charge.
what the workload for this one person to handle those accounting issues and 500 transactions per month? Is it like full-time, day-to-day job, or it's just part-time? I mean, to cover this workload.
We have 500 transactions means 6 companies. I look after account payables. So generally, my work is to update the ledger, Google Sheet ledgers.
Mhm.
QuickBook, we do bookkeeping on QuickBook Online. So to update the payables in QuickBook Online, there is another accounting team which also works on a QuickBook Online along with me, who are responsible to update these ledger amounts into their QuickBooks along with the attachment of the invoice, which I provide them after verification.
I see. Well, that's actually interesting. You have QuickBooks, which is accounting software, right? But
Yes.
still, you have to manage uh, account payables in, Google spreadsheet, Google Ledgers. Uh, isn't there any like software to manage this part of the process, or you just don't need it? Or, I mean, what's the reason that it's done this way, manually in spreadsheets? What the reason behind it?
The reason behind is very simple, because we do not use QuickBook Online for the payments. We use the bank's online banking portal for the payment,
And it's
ACH or
easy.
wired payment. It's easy.
I see. It's easy to copy and paste from just spreadsheets, right?
Exactly.
Well, in terms of accuracy, uh, well, it's clear that was an issue. Now it's not anymore. In terms of workload, still just to figure out, let's say, to handle, you know, monthly workload in terms of account payables. I mean, managing ledgers, spreadsheets actually, and actually paying invoices. Mm, data entry issue and actually payment invoices. Is it one person or like two people, maybe more, who are responsible for this process?
Okay.
I mean, what's my objective is I want to understand uh, what how much how much resources is spent for just invoices being paid. I mean, there might be some workload which is required just for invoices to be paid, and I just want to roughly estimate.
Yes. There is a cash flow team.
Yep.
I generally just update the ledgers after verification. And
Mhm.
if there is any issue in an invoice, I discuss with the suppliers and then provide the invoices to the team. And I also work on a financial analysis apart from this task and the credit limits as well. So cash flow this is after my verification, I enter in Google Sheet Ledger. So now this is a cash flow team. It's upon cash flow team when to pay, how to pay. So the cash flow team also send the payment allocation to the supplier.
I see.
So they manage both prepaid plus credit payments plus any expenses related payments.
I
So
see.
they have so there is another team. Yes, this is this is just like a financial management team, we call them.
Makes sense. And regarding your workload, so you mentioned that it's updating ledgers and also financial analysis. So how long does it take you per month? What the workload per month for this ledger update issue, and how many transactions they are saying that 30 hours I spent for like 200 transactions, either some specific. I mean, you mentioned that 500 transactions for 6 companies, right? So how many transactions you specifically handle per month, and how long does it take you to handle it?
Okay, whenever I first log in, I first of all, because I I am the responsible who looks after the department's correspondence with the other departments and suppliers as well. Whenever I log in, first of all, I read the emails.
I see.
So there are around 200 to 300 emails, because we have a different companies, so 5 to 6 emails, accounts emails of each six companies, 6 accounts emails. So I open each email and download the invoices, and I put in my folder. And if
Mhm.
I have to reply to any email, I do reply. And then after downloading the invoices, I one by one, I check the invoices properly. Even I have to check the date, because we have a net term 30. Some suppliers are very clever in terms of, because
see.
when I have seen that few European suppliers are very clever. They have offered credit limits to us, but even they provide even the inventory doesn't reach their warehouse. They still automatically send the invoices to us. I have raised multiple questions with them. That why are you doing so? These European suppliers say that when you send purchase orders to us, we consider them as a sale. When we enter purchase order in our system, we consider them sale as a sale. Therefore, we automatically issue the invoices to you. So I know that they want to compress these 30 days. So when the goods arrive, they arrive after 10 days. So they eat away our 10 days. Only 20 days remain to pay to them.
I see.
So these European suppliers are very clever. So I generally spend 2 hours, 2 hours of a day on updating the Google Sheet ledgers.
I see.
2 hours, because I have to verify the invoices as well. Therefore, I take 2 hours.
Makes sense. Well, I see. Yeah, absolutely makes sense. Thanks for details. Well, getting back to that DLL issue, I just forgot to ask a couple of numbers you mentioned. Um, I just want to figure out how often you decide to, you know, to get some support from DLL. I mean, get some additional cash. So is it like monthly process, or it's just from time to time? So how often you need to cover your cash flow with the help of DLL?
So
How-
right now, what we have, I would like to mention that what I did last 2 to 3 months back, I analyzed the whole list of DLL, and I saw which suppliers are there from whom we are purchasing a lot and they are not offering a credit limits to us.
Mhm.
So I did this analysis, and finally, just after providing the strong financials and meetups with the suppliers, they finally provided us with the credit limits. So just like DNH was there, Engram Micro was there, Synix, TD Synix was there. So these suppliers were major suppliers. So we targeted them and acquired the credit limits from them. So right now we do not use the DLL facility
I see. I see. So you just have
because
Mhm.
the active suppliers from whom we are buying or purchasing, they are with the credit limits with us.
That's smart. It's cool. Well, all right. So that's super clear. And the other part left is actually payments. I wanted to ask a few questions about payments, specifically payment methods. I mean, well, you're the part, you're the site who actually buys goods and pays for them. And do you have some preferable payment methods, and why do you prefer those payment methods? Yeah, either any preference or it's not like something that differs from one supplier to another one. So how do you pay? What payment methods you use when you pay your suppliers?
So first of all, we generally try to pay them through a bank online bank transfer, which is acceptable across the world. We do not use the generally a check option at all, except the FedEx refunds options. So generally we pay them through a Wells Fargo online portal through ACH or wire transfer, either ACH payments or wire transfers.
And that's is that totally okay for suppliers, or there is like some negotiation? Let's say you want to pay ACH, they want to receive wire transfer and vice versa. Is there some kind of questions concerning payment methods, or
The,
it's not an issue at all?
there are some suppliers who do not accept the ACH at all. They at first, when we onboard them for the very first order, they clarify to us they will accept the wire transfers.
Hmm. And what's the reason behind it? Just a sec. Sorry, hold on, please. Uh, I apologize. My kid just approached and started to. Well, yeah, that's clear. In this case, you just switch to wire transfers and that's it, right? I mean, it's not a big issue. And
Yes.
yeah, I see. I see. And
But Wells Fargo fees, I think, vary on both ACH and wire payments.
is there any like frictions there with concerning cost of this transaction? I mean, it probably
I think
requires.
they charge higher on wire transfers, ACH compared to ACH. Bank charges are higher.
And those charges are charged from your side or from.
Our side, but on monthly bank charges.
Mhm. Is that
On
okay?
monthly basis, they
I see. Is that okay for the cash flow, and it's just the way it works, or it's something that like sensitive for business? those charges? And actually,
I
how
think
what
they fe- they are fair enough, but last time they charge more than $1,000, so we approach them at
uh,
first because generally the charges are less than $1,000.
and comparing with the uh, amount paid, how much is, I mean,
Um,
what the percentage could be out of the total paid amount? How would you estimate that, just roughly?
If we estimate the total bank charges of all companies, I think there will be more than $5,000
So it's like 1,000
of
for 500,000, right?
generally the charges are $800 to $900 per company.
For transferring 500,000, right?
Exactly.
I see. Well, the percentage doesn't sound like a big, but still it's quite a lot. Well, yeah, I see. And so yeah, no frictions with the cost. I mean, there is some friction, but okay, it's higher, it's lower.
Yes, it's considered generally okay.
And regarding the um, speed of transfer, is there any friction there? I mean, does it require to be like real time or next day, but it takes more, or it's also nothing that, creates some problem?
I
This,
think in 24 hours the payments are generally reflected in the supplier's account,
I see.
and we also use the credit cards as well for the payments.
Well, that's interesting, actually. I also heard, well, we talked to um, suppliers and also wholesale customers, and some of them also use credit cards. So what's the motivation, what the idea behind it? Why you prefer to use credit cards? Because there are like
Uh,
other types of payment. Yeah,
because of generally a cash flow issue, because whenever we come up with the cash flow issue, we pay through the credit card.
so
And
it's
generally
kind.
the
Mhm.
suppliers charge 3%. Generally 2 to 3% there are charges of suppliers on credit card transfers.
And in this case, this charges go to suppliers, right? So
No, on our
on your
end.
side, on your end. All right. And well, that's more costly. I mean, more expensive for you. But if you have a
Yes,
cash flow issue, you just have to pay. That's why you use it.
exactly. And we
Um,
need the inventory sometime desperately, therefore we have to pay
don't you
through credit
benefit?
card. Hit it.
I see. And don't you benefit from additional grace period in this case?
From credit card,
Yep.
yes, exactly. We
And
were generally we have a link the credit cards with the bank. So automatically credit card deducts the payment when it's due.
I see. And does maybe like bank cover or provide some additional bonuses, perks when you use credit cards for such quite big
Yes,
uh,
cashback
values?
game.
And that still doesn't cover this additional payment uh,
Exactly.
value, right? Okay, so it's kind of urgent tool to cover some cash flow issues. That's it, right?
Yes.
And what suppliers say when you pay by credit card? Do they like it, or oppositely, maybe they don't like to receive money?
Generally, generally they hesitate. They hesitate a lot.
And
And
Why?
I have often discussed this credit card with the European companies. Most of the European companies do not accept the payment through credit card at all. Even the UK suppliers do not accept credit card payments mostly. But if they accept, they charge a higher charges, like 5%, 3%, 4% of invoice value.
I see. Why I'm asking, we also noted that there are like some even specific, companies who allow one businesses to pay by credit card and the other businesses, suppliers to receive by other type of payment. So they kind of convert one payment method to another one, and that's whole big business around this payment method conversion. That's why it's quite interesting. But in that cases, the uh, the interest, I mean, this fee was charged from the one who receives money, but not from the one who pays. That's why uh, paying side likes to pay by credit card because they benefit from grace period and also has some cashback and perks from the bank. So businesses like to pay, but they don't like to receive because they have to cover this cost of transaction. But you say that when you pay, you cover. That's interesting.
Exactly.
Well, now it seems to be clear for paying. The last part of my question concerns reconciliation issues and just to understand if that's something, if there is any issue connected with reconciliation. It's actually it's a part of your responsibility, or you have some separate like people who do reconciliations. How it
No,
works
it's
in your
my
company?
responsibility. After 15 days, I email the suppliers to provide me with the statement of account so that I can match my balances with your balances. So
Must-
after every 15 days, we request the suppliers to provide us with the statement of accounts. So generally in 15 days, if we go through the statement of accounts and our ledger balances, they are almost same.
I see. Could you please give your comment on a couple of companies I want to show you? If you see my screen.
Okay.
So, well, yeah, as I mentioned before at the very beginning of our call today, we are kind of, discovering the problem space, and we found out that there are like, in general, two problem fields: payment and finance. So all concerning money flow when there is like payment method and some frictions here. Ones want to pay one payment method, the other one the other, and here there are some things happening in financing, actually providing finance, what DLL used to do for you. But the other part is daily operations concerning account payables, account receivables, reconciliations, all this kind of stuff. And there are like a bunch of services around this. So have you maybe heard about this kind of companies like this Melio, Plastic, Slope, which try to, target this field, claiming that the first one, simple way to pay vendors and contractors. So they offer account payables, receivables, as you see here, some streamlining of workflow. In solutions, they claim that they are for services, suppliers, retail, healthcare, wholesale. That refers to, your suppliers basically. And yeah, seems that it sounds like for professionals like you, it could be a tool, but do you hear and see or maybe receive some offers from this kind of companies? And what's your opinion about this kind of services? Is it applicable for your business or it's for some other types of companies? So how do you see this kind of products and solutions? What's your opinion?
Uh, Honestly speaking, we haven't worked such like this company except DLL. We worked for the first time.
Mhm.
And apart from that, we have also worked on with the insurance company for credit insurance. So we haven't tried this, but we have also we also look forward to working uh, with these companies for the vendors or the suppliers which are not coming to the NetAmps 30. And if
Uh, mhm.
they I would like to ask if they do they offer terms like 30 days, 40, 60 days, you can pay after 30 days or 60 days, or just a tool to manage your accounts payable?
Well, let me show another one, which does what you mentioned. Seems to be. Let me just let a quick show another one. So those three companies I showed you before, they kind of manage, just operations around transaction.
Oh,
They help you not to miss one. They help you to, maybe with collections. So it's kind of CRM around transaction. But here, this
it's
company,
just like a financial for a financial management, or just like
yeah, but this one is different because they handle some terms issues. Dmitry, do you remember the other one, which is term management? We mentioned it as competitors together with
European
no
competitors
no
like Bill.
no Russian. Sorry, the other one we mentioned Melio, Balance, and the third one handling
Slow.
terms. They do terms.
Resolve.
Resolve. Yeah, let me also show this one. So this one provides basically financial services like trade credit and buy now, pay later, which is actually installments. So you buy let's say some goods, but the payment is split in terms like 180. So you pay
yes.
partially. And resolve, another one, credit check, assessment, net terms, invoicing, workflows. If anything sounds like something that you might potentially be interested in, let's check what it says. I'm just trying to understand. I mean, that's just a company. They provide service. They earn some commission on them. That's their business. But you're like real world user right now, and I just want to see your reaction. Do you feel it like something that adds value for your business or for your operations, or it's just doesn't make sense for you?
I think